Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel today for a special interview. Today, I'm with the director, Asher Levin, who is the director of the new film, Dig, which is available in theaters and on demand and digitally September 23rd. Asher, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good. So obviously got a chance to check out the film. The film is titled Dig. Now, here's something I was very interested in asking you about this. Now, there is a element of the film that has to do with digging. The synopsis, the long lines, does not actually preference that, but you would assume if it says dig that there is going to be some digging of some sort. However, I feel like the title represents the other dig that folks may not have been thinking about instantly, and that's the dig in the sense of like looking into something, like, hey, see what you can do in something right there.
Sure.
I would love to kind of know how you landed on this title and what sort of your meaning behind it.
Well, I can't answer that because the writers had the title, and I jumped on a little later. But
or at least the consensus across the board.
I think that's the consensus. I mean, also digging into your past. There's obviously lots of symbolic elements to the film. The more they dig, the more they find out about themselves, the more they are confronted with their demons, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that part of it is, yeah.
Okay.
I know that's a terrible answer. I apologize. I don't know. I mean, I like that's definitely a question for the writers. I kind of just said, hey, cool, dig. That sounds like a cool title.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of focused on the other stuff.
Yeah, right on. Was there any bit of the intrigue from you upon looking at the product or getting the script and kind of certain elements of that you wanted to kind of impose your skill and your expertise to kind of bring the film to life?
Yeah, the film was a very straightforward crime drama when I read it. It was really about the father and the daughter. The characters on the other side were ex-cops, and it was a home invasion film, a little bit more than I don't think it plays as a home invasion film in this movie. I think it feels much more like a sort of classic Hitchcock kind of with a lot of swag. And the character that Emil and I crafted for him and for Liana is definitely a departure from the script. But my sensibility, I grew up watching old film noir movies, and then I'm a child of the 80s. I watched a lot of Shane Black movies, 80s action films, and then got really in deep in my early teens into my late teens into the 90s independent film boom, and I kind of stayed there. So I hope people come back with me. I miss movies like this. And so when I had my hands on the script, I was like, I want to do it this way. And I really want to embrace some of the more punk rock elements of films of the past, where you didn't really know where you landed on bad characters and good characters. And I think you find a lot of that on television now, but TV's not movies, and you got to live with people for more than an episode in television, so you can't make them all the way bad. And I think in films, since the dawn of time, you can have fun with the villain. And if you have more fun with the villain, I think people like it a lot more.
Who wholeheartedly agree there.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it. I mean, Emil would. I would get late night texts from Emil, these sort of napkin notes. Hey, I got this idea for this piece of dialogue. And I would say, I don't think we can do that. And he said, no, trust me. It's going to be funny as shit. I promise. And he goes, come on, the guy's got to be bad, man. He can't have him be kind of okay. And he's got to talk terrible. And, because I had pitched him initially, and I'm like, we're going to do it this way. And this guy's going to kind of be a wannabe. He's kind of be a postmodern criminal who grew up listening to hip hop and watching Tarantino movies, and so that's kind of like what he's trying to be. And then his girlfriend is just all the way bad. There's no posing on that. She's legit. So yeah, I mean, and Thomas was game for it. I mean, Thomas had the script before, and I kind of came back to him and I said, look, I'll do this movie. We got a meal, and I want to do it this way. Oh, that's great. That'll be so much fun. And I love those kind of movies, and I was in some of them when I was really young. And so, I think he fully embraced, and he's really tight with Shane Black. And so he loved the idea of just having this sort of chaotic chaos sort of couple in the center of the storm,
Yeah. God, I love me some Thomas Jane. He's fantastic. Obviously seeing his face bright and centered on the poster. I said, I have to check this out. And then we get the introduction of Harlow here. And oh wow, this was let's just call it what it is. She's a natural.
She's a natural
in her blood.
And she I probably, because of her mom's side, she is not she's not an actress that is trying to hide who she is. That's I think third generation Arquette. And they're an acting family, and she loved it. She loved when we started to get into the bloody stuff, and she was like, I want my face to look like my mom's in True Romance. I want blood in my teeth. And I'm like, I am in all the way in. Like, you are talking my language. And of course, growing up with Thomas as your dad, I mean, she swears like a sailor, and they're a lot of fun. I have a terrible language. My son, it's rough. I'm 6 years old, and he's like, why do you always make movies I can't see? And I can't even watch the scenes when they're on, I run away when and even with my podcast I listen to, even sports podcasts, I there's a lot of bad language in it. We'll be driving in the car, and someone will be like, fuck the Cowboys, and and he'll be like, Dad, what the hell, man? So I'll tell you, it's not a departure. The language in this film is pretty coarse. It's even worse in Slayers, which comes out next month with Thomas. Thomas says some pretty nasty shit in that movie. And then I have a movie that I did right after with Emil called Helen's Dead, that's coming out early next year or late this year. I don't know yet. And that movie is pretty filthy too, even though it's like a elevated mystery comedy. But I guess I was doing a rewrite on, I know I'm going on tangent, but I was doing a rewrite for this movie that I'm doing soon with Emil. And it's pretty funny. This older guy wrote this script, and it's about, it's a 1920s film. And I did this pass, and I get this call from the producer who's attached with the writer. And he's a Southern guy. And he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? And I go, what? He goes, what? He's like, oh, I get it. He's like, I get it. So your style of writing is just fuck this and fuck that and cocksucker and all stuff. And I go, man, look, I just want things to, I don't know. I don't know, man. I got a dirty mind. I can't give you an answer on that.
Listen, I look forward to those projects. I guess we're going to be talking again soon. So that does bring up a couple of interesting questions really quick. One, just and it has to be, but it's still a job and you're still playing characters, but let's just call it what it is. Harlow and Thomas as Jane and Steve, their chemistry is fantastically organic on screen. You 100%. Are with them the entire journey, which I love what you mentioned earlier about Emil's character, because you start to tether about, well, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. And I'm as a little bit of a moral compass of self. I look at actions and reactions in terms of how something can send down a whole cascade of other events. And then you start to think, and then you have dialogue between father and daughter about who's to blame. And then that starts to make you think things like, you know what? You're right. But that's not right to feel that way. Or is it right to feel that way? So there's a lot of conflict that goes on, which is what I truly enjoyed about this. And I love you being able to give me further insight on that. But my question, and again, I thought her performance was completely fantastic. Was it always initially within the script for her to have lost her hearing?
Yeah. That was that opening section of the film I did not touch. It was really amazing. The only thing I changed was that initially it was a couple of young punks that were the sort of road rage folks. And I really thought I was pretty affected by 2020 and stuff that had happened. And I'm a very progressive person. I work in a, when I don't do this, I co-run an environmental organization, and I'm from LA. And I really felt like it was important to have that character be an everyman on the side of the road. And someone, because driving around, I mean, you don't know who you say the wrong thing to these days. They could pull out a gun and kill your wife, so that's the truth. I live in a city where there's home invasions. I live in a city where my wife can get followed home from, a shopping market. And so that really deeply affected me. And I was like, hey, it's so predictable to have it be, a couple of guys in their mid-20s and they're in their hot rod and they're assholes. And it's way scarier for it to be just a guy, just a older white gentleman. I mean, honestly, I that was super intentional. And so the hearing impaired element of it was very important for us to nail correctly, to be specific about, to be inclusive about, and make sure that the representation was correct on it. Harlow, to her credit, was dedicated to make sure there never was the word deaf in the script. And when it was from Brennan, from Thomas's character, not understanding. And we were very conscious to have someone on set. We had a trainer for her for 3 weeks before. And I also didn't want it to be what the movie was about. And just so we're clear, like we made this movie, we never seen Coda. It hadn't come out yet. And
easily one of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years.
Beautiful
so
film.
Good.
And by the way, as you could tell, I'm not a very sentimental person. But it was such a great, I think I was trying to figure out how to do sound design. I haven't told anyone this, but this is the right place to talk about it. So I watched the King Kong Godzilla movie.
Okay.
Because Weingart's such a good director.
Yep.
And I had heard that there was really great representation of hearing impaired in that film with the younger character. And I basically just cribbed everything off of what they did.
Okay.
I didn't do it too much. I made it the visual language.
Yeah.
It wasn't a movie about sign language, so I didn't want it to be a movie about sign language. And I really only utilized it when we really needed to utilize it. And I think that it is better that way, because it's not a hook. It's not and I love, it's a credit to the people marketing this film that it's not marketed as this is a film about this daughter and she's hearing impaired and there's sign language, and we basically don't even talk about it in descriptions. I mean, it's just a part of who's who. And I've done that in a couple of other films with regards to representing, different communities and stuff like that. I don't like to have that be a plot point. So it is just something that is a part of a character, and that is another character in the film. And that's just the way that it is in life,
Fantastic, dude. Fantastic. Yeah, I swear you're kind of looking at my notes because you just touched on so many other things I wanted to touch on. But just for the sake of time, my last really quick question about the character Jane, again, played by Harlow.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say, especially with the resolution of this film? Oh, two things I want to say. One, I could imagine how ecstatic she was about a particular scene when you mentioned blood. I thought that was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that was amazing.
I mean, look. I am a huge fan of Tony Scott and of Tarantino. And when we got in sort of blocking and figuring things out, and I went over to her and I said, hey, look, you remember that scene with Gandolfini and your mom with the wine opener? I said, we're going to do that. That's what we're going to do. Just because I love that movie and I love your mom as an actress. And, it seems like a really cool thing to do. And it's such a cool moment. And because it was written all these different ways. And I just was like, and I said, and you're just going to go for it. You're going to keep stabbing. Originally, it was going to be much more, very, very much more. Yeah. I remember I talked to my stunt coordinator about it, who actually is the sort of highwayman, the guy in the beginning, the gas station.
Okay.
He's done a bunch of shit before. It was great because Thomas was really feeling it that day at the gas station. And he scared the shit out of us. And he fucking flung this guy, against the. And I came up to him afterwards. I go, first of all, what's going on with you? And he goes, oh, this is acting it a little. And I go, you're lucky that that's our stunt coordinator, or we would be in big trouble because you really pushed him. He goes, well, I knew that I know Derek. I go, okay, whatever you say, buddy. I go to Derek, our stunt coordinator, and I go, so in this scene, he's going to take this, the knife that's in the thing, and she's just going to stab, fucking blood and everything, all that stuff. And he goes, okay, all right, man. He goes, but you don't need to do that. And I go, why? He goes, because you hit the right place in the artery. It's like 2 stabs, and they're dead. That's it. And he goes, I think it's going to look kind of stupid if she keeps doing it. I go, okay, all right. Can I at least start negotiating on how many stabs she was going to do?
She's not an assassin. She's 16.
Well, that's what he said. He said it can't look like she knows what she's doing. She just does it. And he's like, and if you start having her go like this, and then she's like, suddenly like she's a criminal, she's not a girl. And I go, okay, all right, fine. So I think we did 3 or 4 jabs. Yeah. I wanted it to be like 15, 20. I love blood. Sure, and I had like the blood machine. I was like, we're going to splatter, blah, blah, blah. And we did. It was pretty bloody. I will say, I on this movie and then the vampire film before that, on the vampire film, this special effects team, we could talk about it on another, if you want to bring it back. But the special effects team on that movie said that they'd never used as much blood in their life. And then my same producer, started telling me about overages in the budget. And I said, what are the overages? And he goes, buckets of blood everywhere. And I go, okay. He goes, that shit costs a lot of money. So yeah, I don't know. Is that what we're wrapping up with? It's just my bloodlust.
This is, I would love to. I just want to just know for anybody, including myself with ignorance towards hearing impairment, looking at the conclusion of this film, one may deem it questionable because of their ignorance. I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I guess to kind of bounce around a little bit, is it sort of medically proven, or has it been medically in terms of trauma?
100%. As trauma, I mean, trauma is trauma. I mean, if you stop talking and then you start talking again, that's clinically proven. With regards to the way that the hearing works, the other movie I watched, obviously even more than Godzilla, was Sound of Metal.
Another good movie.
Which is just like,
Riz is
wow.
amazing.
And by the way, like the best movie of that year, it's Sleeping. Sorry, it's my wife. That movie was like the best movie of the year, and I could not believe that it didn't get more love everywhere. But it's a tough movie. I get it. It's not as kind and gentle as Coda, so I understand. Yeah. But Riz should have won. Just putting it out there.
No,
without a doubt. I don't even know who won, but I know that Riz should have won.
Didn't matter.
He definitely should have won. That was like early Pacino status.
Yeah.
But I will say that they talk about the cochlear implant in that film, and they have a really beautiful section at the end of that movie where he gets it, and then it's not really what he was hoping it would be, and he turns it off and kind of accepts who he is. I was with my grandmother 2 weeks ago. She has a lot of hearing issues. And we went to the House Clinic, which is a big hearing institute in downtown Los Angeles. And she's 93. And she has like 90% hearing loss in her left ear and 50 in the other. And the doctor did say, listen, if you wanted to, you could have a cochlear implant and you could hear 100%. He said, but just getting proper hearing aids is okay for you. But I mean, listen, if you still have the facets of hearing, and we talked a lot about this with the hearing impaired community, that is a procedure. Now, obviously, as Sound of Metal shows, it is a facsimile of sound. It is basically a way to have your brain create the version of what it would be, and you have to have an essence of your hearing left so that the brain can sort of comprehend and then embrace the technical stuff. But I mean, every year things get a little better for all different health things, So I wouldn't be surprised if 5 to 10 years from now it's perfected. We live in a really exciting time when it comes to health. Not when it comes to our personal health. It's definitely not an exciting time for that, but exciting time for the health, the health advanced health community. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I had a fun time talking to you, buddy.
And, me too, man.
We have to be in touch, because I'm so excited to check out your upcoming project.
Yeah, hit me up, Alex. Can you sorry, we're still recording, aren't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, but we'll get
the man in the back. Hook us up.
We'll get linked up. We'll get linked up via email afterwards, and we can keep talking, man.
Absolutely, folks. You have an opportunity to check out Asher's new film he's directed, Dig, in theaters, on demand, digital, September 23rd. There was no spoilers in this interview, so I strongly recommend you watch this.
Yeah, if you like, if you like family drama with bad guys and bad girls and guns and blood, it's kind of got everything, a little bit of everything for you.
Yeah. A lot of conflict going on, and be ready.
A lot of conflict, a lot of stress. Apparently,
a lot of
people have told me it's a pretty stressful film.
Yes, I agree. I concur. But folks, jump in the comments. Let us know your thoughts about this interview and of the film once you check it out, and stick around for many more interviews very, very soon. And obviously, Asher coming back. Thanks so much for checking in, folks.
Thank you so much.
We see you later. Absolutely. Thanks, buddy.
All right.